Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. So I thought I would do a fun project today. I had this Pillbox here. It's just from my allergy meds. And I thought, you know what, this would make a cute little journal, especially since it has this piece here that opens up that could be like an extra little flap on it. So I thought, you know, why don't we turn this into a journal? Now you're going to see my creative process today because I haven't really planned anything out other than I picked out some papers to use on the cover. So we'll see how this goes, and I'll show you the process. I'll put up on the screen here a little quick look at the finished product so that you can see if you want to watch the rest of the video. And yeah, let's get to it. Okay, so the first thing I need to do if I'm going to turn this into a journal is I need to cut it to the right, cut the right parts off. So I want this to open this way. So this is going to be my open side. So what I'm going to do actually is I'm going to open up this bottom part here. And I'm going to just make it easy so I don't screw anything up. I'm just going to cut up the middle of this side for starters. Okay, because then I can lay it out like this and I can cut off those edges. Okay, so I'm going to grab my knife here and I'm just going to cut along these edges. Now I want to use my ruler to make sure that I don't mess anything up. So we're going to just go like that. So there's that. And I'm going to do the same thing on this side. So I'm just cutting along the lines of the cardboard so that I get rid of those, but I keep the rest of everything. Come on, there you go. Okay, so that gives me my little journal book. So the one thing that I always like to do when I'm making these out of cardboard boxes is I like to reinforce the spine. Now because I cut that other side off, that I can't use that. But what I'm going to use is a piece of a file folder because that's good thick cardstock. So we'll just put this on here and measure. I'm gonna just use this part of it. So I don't want it to be quite as wide as this because you need to be able to close it. So grab our paper cutter. Now we'll see how that says. You can see my wonderful measurements, right? So yeah, that's just about perfect. So we're going to put that in there. So for that, I'm going to get out, of course, my good old handy Mod Podge that everybody knows I love. There it is. And I'll have links to all the products I'm using in the description below, so you can access that easily. I always keep my glue brush in some water so that if I forget to rinse it out, it doesn't get all hard on me. So, okay, so I'm just going to put glue right in the center area. And you'll notice I didn't cut the thing to perfect size. I'm not too worried about that. I can always cut it after again. But I'd rather cut it after and not have it too short. Let's just pop that little baby on there. And I'm actually going to push it up a little higher than the top and down a little lower than the bottom. There. So that will reinforce that. And then I can come along with my knife again and just chop off those edges. So that's that part done. Now I want to cover this, obviously, because who wants to look at a pillbox? So what I had picked out, I wanted to do something fun and funky. I thought about doing something vintage, and I thought about doing, you know, something maybe themed like horses or something like that. But I thought, you know what? Let's go with something just kind of fun and funky. So I have these, they're just 6x6 sheets of cardstock. And I thought this one was really cool and would look neat for a cover, front and back. I thought that would look kind of cool, especially if I kind of center this part on the cover, right? I think that would look neat. So what I'm going to do, and then I've got just some other ones here. I'm actually going to measure where I want this, and I want it to extend a little bit over. So I think what I'm going to do is, like I say, you're getting to see my creative process here. So I think what I will do is I want this big shape to be right in the center there. But now do I want it to be, let's see, do we want it to, no, I think just perfectly centered would look cool. So that's perfectly being a relative term because I'm not measuring it. Let's go there. And I'm going to actually extend this partway across the back here, and that'll also extra reinforce that spine. So we're gonna just mark this. I want it to go out to here for sure and over to here for sure. Now what I might actually do, I think I'm going to extend it a little bit further because then I'll wrap it around this piece. So we'll go out to about here just to make it easier. I'm going to erase that so it doesn't show up. Okay, sorry about the shaking there. So yeah, we'll do that and then I'll figure out the back one after. Okay, so let's get out the handy dandy cutter again. And this time I'm going to cut right about there. So let's just check it with my, yeah, that's good. Save the scraps for other things. Might want to use more in this journal. We'll see. Okay. Now I'm going to leave the top and bottom and I'll cut them off after because I want to fold them in too. So now this is where it's going to get a little complex because I've got that piece there. Okay, so we will go right about there, I think. So I'm going to go ahead and put my glue all over on this part. Now I'm going to try to get it all over on there, but not on that piece underneath because I don't want to accidentally glue the two together. If I get a little bit on, it's not a huge deal, but okay. So then let's take this, and I want it to be kind of centered. I'll go ahead and put it kind of right up to that line there. There we go. Doesn't have to be perfectly centered, but I want it kind of centered. Okay, so there we go. Now, I'm going to just go like this. Okay, so I want to fold this around here. So I'm going to just cut. Sometimes I like just using my knife for this because it's quick and easy. Cut that so that I can fold this. Do the same thing on this one. Okay. And then for my corners here, I'm just going to cut this corner piece here right along there. There, like that. And then I'll just cut it off here. I'm going to do the same thing up here. See, so then my cover is going to look like that, which is quite cute. Yeah, I like that. Okay, so now I'm going to glue these pieces down. So that's that piece. There. That looks pretty cute. So then I'm going to just, yes, just going to flip these over. And glue them down. Okay, so that's covered. Now I want to do the same thing on the back with this sheet. I do have, I think, a couple more sheets of this if I really screw it up. So what I wanted to do is kind of cut this right about here, so that where this connects, it kind of looks like it's meant to be together like that. Sort of. Yeah, that'll extend over enough, I think. Or I could come out a little bit more. Yeah, if I come out a little bit more, like, oh, that's perfect. Look at that. See how that's connecting? Haha, I like that. Okay, that's what we'll do. We'll try and connect those pieces up like that. Might need to do it a little, yeah, a little bit of an angle there. It won't be perfect, but it'll look kind of neat. Sort of like they were meant to be like that. Yeah. Yeah, see, I like it right there. So I'm actually going to make a little mark that I can erase later, showing where to put that. Okay. Excellent. Don't you love it when things come together the way you want them to? Okay. Doesn't have to be perfect. If it's not perfect, it just adds to the charm. That's what I always say anyway. I think that looks really neat. Okay. So then we're going to do the same thing here. We're going to go ahead and fold this over. And it doesn't matter if it's a little off, like, you know, it's a little bit crooked, because this side's going to be covered with something too, so. And I'm going to do the same thing that I did on the other one. Don't skimp on your Mod Podge, because, or glue, whatever glue you're using. I just happen to like Mod Podge, but because you want it to stay down nicely. It's the one thing I always buy my Mod Podge in those big containers so that I don't feel like I have to skimp on it. I tend to skimp a lot on things like my paint and stuff like that, especially my expensive artist paint. But in this case, I don't really want to have to skimp. There. So then we'll fold that again here. don't mind a few little wrinkles like that because it's going to be covered with the signatures anyway. But you can kind of try and flatten them out a bit. Okay, so there is our outside. Let's turn it right side up. So that's the outside of the journal. Okay, so now I'm going to do, I think I'll do this side next. So now this is where it gets a little hard because I don't want to wreck this piece here, but I think I can open, there we go. Yeah, I can open it like that. And that's okay. Okay, so I was thinking for the inside, I would do something fun like maybe this one. That one looks like super fun. And now, do I want to do that side first or do I want to do this side? I think I'll do this side. I thought I'd do something like this for this side and then one of these papers for the inside. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put it right about here, but because of this, you can see I'm going to have this blue border around it. So I'm actually going to take some of this and I'm going to put that bit of a blue border on this page as well. So I'm going to go like that. Doesn't have to be perfect because, like I say, this is going to cover it. So let's go just like that. Mark it where I'm going to cut it. So that'll work for this top piece here and the bottom piece here. So we'll just go like that, and I'm going to cut this one off a little bit. Okay, so let's go ahead and glue that down. I'm going to move this so I don't get glue on it. Okay, so now that I got that, now I can come back to this spot with this paper here, and I can mark in where I want it to sit. So I want to leave a little bit of a gap on the sides. That's why I put that blue on there. And again, I'm just doing this by feel. I'm not doing it by measuring, because I think that adds a bit to the charm. We'll cut it there, and then on this side, we'll cut it. It's a little too high there. Go a little closer to the bottom. There we go. And then on this side, we'll go right about here, I think. And when I'm doing a longer sheet like that, I usually like to use the old paper cutter. So now that should fit right on there. Perfect. Okay, get out the old glue again. Now, depending on how fast the glue dries where you are, you can do half and then half. It's not bad here where I am. It's winter and it's not too warm in the house. I keep my house a little bit cooler, so I can get all the glue on there before it dries. But if you live somewhere where it's like really warm and dry, you might want to do half and then half. Make sure your edges are held down. That's the most important part. I might do a little sewing around the edges. I haven't decided yet. But I think I might, just to keep it in place better. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and fold that again so that my cover goes back over top of it. And you'll notice a little bit of it sneak peeks out the side, which I think is cute. It's not going to be perfectly square because it's a pillbox. It's not, you're not using brand new materials and everything, but that looks cute. Okay, so then we're going to do the same thing on the inside. But I think, now I used that one there. So which of these should I use? I'm thinking maybe this one, because it's a little less, there's a little, well, let's see now. Is that going to be long enough? No, it's not. Okay. Well, you know what? Let's actually look at, I have some longer strips here that I had cut off of some other sheets. So let's have a look and see what I got in here that might look cute on there. Have anything I like out of there? Well, that would look neat. Ooh, look at that. Let's do that. Okay, I think that would look super cool because you've got lots of blue on the journal. So, okay, so we're gonna cut this one. Go right about here. This is fun for using up scraps of things too. Everybody always has those scraps laying around. I've been using quite a few of my scraps now to make paper, which is fun. I'm doing handmade paper, and maybe I'll use some of that for a page in the journal. But I keep all my scraps and I throw them into my paper bin, and then I can use them for my handmade paper, and it adds some unique colors and things to it. Sorry if the paper cutter gets off camera, but it's long. Okay, so that looks good. Nice. Okay, now for this one I think I am going to do like half and half, just to show you how I would do that. So I'm going to just put my glue on half of the paper. That looks okay. So I pressed that down on that half, and then I'm going to just lift it up and do this half. So that's how I would do it if I needed to do half and half. That's how I do it when I'm putting a fabric cover on a journal too, is I'll do half and then do the other half so that I can make sure everything's getting down where it needs to be. That's pretty cute for the inside of the journal. Of course, as you fold it, things will shift. It's a given, but I think that adds some character to it. If I wasn't recording this, I might leave this like pressed overnight in order to keep it from doing that, but I don't worry too much about it in this stage because the spine here is going to be covered anyway with the signatures, so I'm not too worried about that being a little bit wrinkled. But because I'm doing this for the video, I'm not taking that extra time to let the glue dry. Okay, so there we go. There's that. Now, I think I am going to do a little bit of sewing around the edges. So I'm going to go do that, and I will come back and show you how that turned out. Okay, after some thinking about it, I decided actually not to sew the edges, because with this part being like here, it's a little bit difficult to get it into the sewing machine and everything. So I'm just going to leave it the way it is. Yeah, I think that'll be okay. All right, so what I wanted to do next is I wanted to decide what I wanted for a little closure on this book. So I thought what might look cute is to just have a hole in the front and a hole in the back, and have some ribbon coming through that you can then tie. You might even wrap the ribbon around it and then tie it. So let's do that. So I'm going to put holes in there. Now I want to use, I'm going to use some of these, I will show you here. So I'm going to use these little grommets here, or they're eyelets. Now, since this is kind of a fancy looking journal with its funky colors, I think I'll use gold. Now, some of the areas, if they lift up like that, we can glue them down again after. So I'm going to get one for the front and one for the back. And I've got the little rings that go with them. And here's my little thingy for pounding them in. Okay. Now, a lot of people have those fancy ones for putting eyelets on. I don't have one of those yet, so I just use the stuff that came from the manufacturer of the eyelets. Okay, so I want to, now I am kind of finicky about measuring this. I like to make these centered. So I've got, that is 11.3 or yeah, 11.3 centimeters. So that would be 5 would be 10, 5.5 would be 11. So right about there. And the same thing on this side. Now I want to bring them in a little bit from the edge, because I think I'm going to bring it in about 1 centimeter from the edge. So right about there on each side. Okay. Now I need to poke my hole. So what I like to use for that is, find it. There it is. I have a bead reamer, and I also have an awl here. Now, I typically use the bead reamer. You can get awls that are this thin, but I didn't. I got an awl like this. Hello, Raven. The cat is back. But this one, the holes get quite big very quickly, so you got to be a little more careful with it. This one here, I can poke a small hole and then decide if I want to enlarge it. So I'll have links to those in the description though. So what I do is I press that on the hole and dig her in there, and then I just push it right through. Just like that. Now, because these are the bigger grommets and eyelets, I have some tiny eyelets that this works really well for. I'm going to have to probably use the big one. But this gets it started better than that other one too. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and put my big one in there, and that increases the size of my hole a lot, as you can see. There. Okay, we'll see if that's big enough. So I'm gonna pop the eyelet in there. Yep, just like that. Now, what I like to do is I kind of like to just push this extra material down so that it ends up being kind of under the ring. So then we'll put the little ring on. And I gotta find my hammer. This is the part that my bunnies hate because they think I'm thumping at them. Okay. So I just take my little tool. Like I say, you can use whatever you have. This will be noisy. And see there, you can see now. Hopefully you can see that. That is attached very well now. Okay, now we're going to do this other side. Now this one's going to be a little more interesting because I can't lay this flat anymore because of the way the binding went. Okay, but we'll make it work. So now we've got those two pieces like that. So I'm not going to actually put the ribbon on yet because I want to, it'll just get in the way when I'm trying to do my binding and everything. So let's next figure out on this piece here, I kind of want to have, I was thinking a pocket, possibly maybe a belly band. See, it's going to do that. See, we've run into a little problem, and that's that this paper is not. I'm going to just go ahead and I'm going to split this because I need to be able to open this all the way. This is how you deal with issues. So see there, I split it, so now I can open it all the way, and we'll just cover that with something nice after. Because you need to be able to open that all the way. And it wasn't letting me do that. Okay. So we'll fix that later. Another little piece. All right. So let's go ahead. And I was thinking maybe put like a belly band on this side and maybe a little corner pocket over on this side that you can then tuck something in. And here you could have a little belly band. Now, I thought what might be fun, I have some of this, of my homemade ribbon that I could use. This is just it's paper ribbon. I've got this up on my webpage actually, so you can have a look at it. But this is the colorful one, and I have some vintage ones. And I've also got some new ones here that I made out of book pages. So that one this one's colorful with book pages on the middle. Actually, that might look kind of cool. I'll just keep that one out. This one is white with colorful ribbon, same as this one. What else do I have here? Oh, I have this one here, which is, it's all dictionary pages with ribbon in the center. I might use some of that on the journal too, because that would be fun. And I've got like a lot of this stuff. I've got this one here, which is white with book pages on the center. Now I'm just wondering, because this is so colorful on the background, do I want to do something like that? Do I want to do maybe the book page? Or do I want to use maybe like this blue with the book page? I really like that blue with the book page. So I think I'm going to use that for my belly band. So what I do when I'm going to use my ribbon, okay, so when I'm going to use my ribbon, what I do is I just measure, set them to the side. So I want to just measure, I don't want it to be all the way to the edge because I'm going to just kind of have it just like in this center area. So I want to cut it right about there. So I just cut it. Now these are sewn, but because you're gluing them down, it doesn't really come apart, so it's kind of nice. I'll take these strings off of this one. Okay. So if we're going to put that kind of right in the center there, and I want it to be, so I'm going to just put a little bit of glue on the edges. See what I mean? You're covering those edges with glue, so you're gluing that bit of thread back down, so it shouldn't come apart. Okay, so I'm going to put that right about there, and I like to kind of just push it in a little bit so that there's a bit of a gap. Put that little belly band in there, and then we can slide something in there, a little tag or something. And then on this side I wanted to do like a corner pocket, so let's find some nice paper. I'm thinking, if we're kind of going with a blue theme, what if we actually used some of this? Because that would match the inside. Okay, so I'm going to come up to about there. So I'm going to mark how wide this is. So we'll go to about there. And I want to come up to right about there on this side. Let's go almost all the way to the corner. So we're going to go like this. I'm going to cut it back from that corner, but then on this side I'm going to leave a little bit up. So right about like that, I think, is where I'll cut it. I could just use my scissors, I guess, but yeah, let's use the cutter. If it'll work, we'll try it. Let's see if that'll work. Aha, it worked. Okay, so that's my little piece. Now, I was kind of thinking it might look cute if I put like a little piece of ribbon or something on that side. Now I am going to need to cut this end off a little bit. If I put like some white ribbon or something along here, I think that would look cute. Let's see what I got on my table right now. If I just put a little bit of that on there, wouldn't that look kind of cute? Okay, so we're gonna cut it right about here. Again, we're kind of using up scraps here. And then I'm going to cut it, I think I want to cut it right along the bottom of these peaks or valleys, whatever you want to call them. There, kind of like that. I think that would look cute. And then we'll cut off the other ends later. Okay, so let's put our glue on. There we go. So that looks super cute, eh? Put that right there. And you can tuck stuff in it. Okay, so now I need to put some glue on this side and on this side so that I can make my little pocket. In that centerpiece. I actually kind of like that with that gap in there. It looks kind of old bookish. So I might leave that. Okay, so there we go. There's those parts done. Okay, so now next on the inside here, we're going to now figure out what we want for papers in there. So I'm just going to go off camera for a few minutes and pick some papers, and then I'll come back and show you what I picked.